Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Andrew Bottom. I am the Associate Director for the Global Internship Program here at UCLA, and we're really excited to talk to you today about our Cape Town program that's coming up this summer. I have some colleagues here to help me share about the program, both in terms of the on-site experience and the student experience. So I'm going to first throw it over to Layla to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Layla Wheeler. I'm a third-year public affairs sociology and education major. And I went to Cape Town this past summer, and I had the most amazing time. So I'm very excited to share my experience with you guys.
Thanks, Layla. And then we have a couple folks from VACorps, who is our on-site program partners who will be taking care of you if you are on the Cape Town program. So I'll go over to Oliver.
Hi, everyone. Good evening from Cape Town. My name is Oliver Hagan. I'm the Director of Partnerships at VACorps, and also I'm American, as you can tell. I've lived here for 17 years now, so I've grown some pretty deep roots in the city, but it's a pretty exciting destination to study abroad, that's for sure, and we'll be talking about that later.
And Rowan.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name is Rowan, and I'm with VACorps in the placement department. So if you choose to come to Cape Town, I'll be working with you directly to identify a suitable opportunity to meet your personal and educational goals while you're in Cape Town.
Awesome. So we'll get started here. We're going to cover briefly just about some of the overall program and eligibility, placement process, and timeline. And then really the focus of today's presentation is more learning about Cape Town as a destination for your global internship, learning about past experiences, what Layla experienced this past summer and kind of from the student perspective, as well as discussing some of the program funding options. We'll have some time for Q&A at the very end. So feel free if you have questions to put them in the chat, but we'll do an open Q&A at the end and happy to answer any questions that you might have. So in general, the Cape Town program is one of our amazing destinations that we provide for the Global Internship Program. This program is offered for students who are on the academic tracks of communication, education, global affairs, political science, and public affairs. We've done specific academic track info sessions for all of these the prior week. So if you do want more information, more in depth about the academics and where it might apply towards your major or minor, I would encourage you to go back to view those recordings. But please note, if you are applying through communications, global affairs, or political science, it is open to all majors and minors. So you don't have to be a major or minor to go through those academic tracks. The career sectors that we offer here in Cape Town include advertising, marketing, and PR, advocacy groups, education, global health, human rights, international business, journalism and media, NGOs and nonprofits, social justice work, and social work. So on each of the program web pages, you'll see a little more information about, some of these areas, some past placement opportunities, which I'll show you here in a second. Depending on the academic track that you are applying through will depend on what placement sectors will be available. So for instance, communications students will focus on advertising, marketing, PR, international business, journalism and media, whereas a public affairs student might focus on advocacy groups, global health, human rights, NGOs and nonprofits, social justice, social work. So depending on the academic track will depend kind of on the career sectors that you might focus on. But again, we have examples on our program web pages to see more of what you might imagine doing while you're in Cape Town. The program at a glance. So this program occurs during summer session A10. The Cape Town specific dates are June 22nd through August 17th of being on site in Cape Town. And that is accompanied by 10 weeks of academic coursework. So during summer session A10, June 24th through August 30th. All students are enrolled in a mandatory course for 4 units and have the opportunity to enroll in an optional course to give you 8 total units. You do need 8 units in total in order to be eligible for financial aid. So take that in consideration if you're planning to apply to the program. These are academic internships, so they are just for academic credit. They're unpaid. However, a lot of our majors, the credit does count for majors or minors, electives. So make sure that you're reviewing your particular program webpage to see if that applies to you. And it looks like my slide cut off, but internship hours are approximately 32 hours per week. So you'll be interning pretty much full time. So 4 days per week, approximately 32 hours per week, depending on your placement. Obviously, some could be 30 hours a week, some might be 28, but generally approximately 32 hours per week. Again, so general eligibility, for course prerequisites, it's pretty much open. No course requirement except for the education track. It does have an Education 180 course requirement. For eligible majors and minors, see your academic track. Particularly, as I mentioned, many don't have that requirement. So if you're going through global affairs, communication, or political science, you don't need to be a major or minor to go through those academic tracks. You do need a 3.0 GPA minimum in order to enroll in the program. If you are a transfer or a first-year student, you will not probably have a GPA at time of application, but as long as you do have a 3.0 after your first academic term, your fall term at UCLA, you'll be eligible. So do a grade check in January just to make sure that you meet the qualifications. 90 unit minimum by spring 2024. That includes AP and transfer units. So if you are a transfer student, for instance, or a first-year student with a lot of AP credit, that can count towards those 90 units, and then good academic standing. The two courses, again, that you'll be taking, you have a mandatory course, which is your 195 internship course. The academic tracks will have a different internship course depending on the track you select. So communication students will have a COM 195 course. Public affairs students will have a public affairs 195 CE course. So that will just differ depending on the track you decide. And then there's the optional CESC 130 course. This is Intercultural Communication in the Global Workplace. And this course focuses really on, what are the differences you're maybe seeing in your current work site compared to what you might notice in the United States. You'll also compare and contrast kind of your own internal way of communicating and how you perceive the world and how that might change depending on how your experiences in your internship site. So it's a really great course. You're paired with students who are interning at other locations around the world as well, and comparing and contrasting their experiences with your own. And many of the academic tracks, if you are a major, it may count towards elective credit. So again, check on the website to see if that would count towards your particular major or minor. And the application is currently open. So it is open until November 27th. So it's a rolling basis for applications. Any application received by November 27th will be treated equally. But there is a second step in the application process, which I'll show you in a second in a short video. And that second step is an advising session with our on-site program partners, which would be, in this case, Rowan. So if you want to conduct that advising step sooner, I would encourage you to apply as soon as possible. There's no financial commitment at time of application. And the sooner you apply, the sooner you conduct that advising session. About 90% of students will apply in that last week. And that means that those advising sessions tend to be, really congested into the month of December, which could conflict with finals or your vacation. And so for that reason, I encourage students to apply early. And to explain the placement process a little more in depth, we have a short 2-minute video, and this AI, video does a lot better job of explaining it than myself. So we will watch it real briefly and then clarify any points that need clarification.
The UCLA Global Internship Program. Placement process and timeline. The Global Internship Program offers UCLA students the opportunity to gain a competitive edge in the job market with an 8-week international summer internship. Students receive direct UCLA credit and secure an internship based on their academic, professional, and personal goals. After an application is submitted, the student will interview with our program partners in the host country to assess their qualifications, experience, goals, and discuss possible internship placements. In January, after an extensive review, students are notified of their application status. If accepted, they must submit a non-refundable $300 deposit to secure their spot on the program. In February, students must pay the full program fee or submit a financial aid agreement form. This payment is used to finalize and secure all program logistics, such as housing. This is also the last chance to withdraw from the program without any additional financial penalty. Starting in April and moving into early June, the internship placement process will occur. Our program partners will arrange interviews with local organizations and companies based on each student's individual goals. Students will interview with one host company at a time. Ongoing interviews will continue with prospective internship site managers until there is a match between both the student and the host company. We guarantee all students an international internship placement. Visit ieo.ucla.edu/global internships to view our programs, dates and deadlines, funding resources, and more.
We don't have the most intense graphics, but hopefully that explains the process to everyone of how it works. And we do have some example placements that are currently on our website as well. So you'll notice there's a sample internship placements tab under each of the program sites. And this provides just some ideas of what past students have done while in Cape Town. It is not an exhaustive list by any means, but does provide some example projects that students have done, sample placements, just to give you an idea of what might be possible. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to Rowan, maybe talk a little bit more about the placement process or sample placements, and move over to the VACorps team in general to talk more about the experience in Cape Town.
Amazing. Thank you, Andrew. I'm also probably going to be shown up by your AO video, but I'm going to try my best here. Yeah, so internship placements, it's quite an individual process. So we're going to meet and then we'll chat through options, ideas, what's going to work for you. And as Andrew said, this list isn't exhaustive, but I just wanted to give you a slight overview of what's available in South Africa and why it's a unique place. So South Africa is a young democracy. And there's a lot of need in the country. Economically, there are some challenges. We've got a very liberal constitution, and the gap between delivery of the constitution and reality is quite large. So where you've got a weak government, you've got a very strong civil society, and civil society has a huge impact on South Africa. And we've got a very strong human rights civil society. So there we've got, if you're doing, international relations, we're looking at advocacy on the groundwork. There's also a lot of policy development, policy frameworks, and we've got, politics, a young democracy. So politics is quite exciting. And we've got, a lot of stuff to get involved in there. Communications, South Africa is, we've got quite a weak state-owned enterprises. The sort of like small businesses are really active. A lot of startups, a lot of really cool organizations doing a lot in society. And we've placed interns before in tech, fintech. Cape Town's like the hub of fintech in South Africa. So a lot of organizations, businesses, where we place people with the founders, with Sorry, I've lost my track a little bit. Yeah. So I just wanted to loop back to human rights. So with human rights, you've got two sort of like really distinct paths that we could choose to look at if you wanted to come to Cape Town and work in that segment. First one is like human rights organizations working directly on the ground with people, making a tangible difference. So that's where you'd be able to, get hands-on in communities, meet people, and really get quite an immersive experience. And we've also got a lot of organizations that work more on a policy level. So that's organizations where you're looking at policy, looking at legislation, looking at the legal framework of human rights. One example is Africa Unite, where Layla was, and she'd probably speak to you a little bit more about that. Another one is a lady called Kelly Stone, who was, it's quite terrifying. She was an intern with us about 13 or 14 years ago. And she is originally from the States, and she finished a law degree, went back to the States, and after a while decided that, corporate law wasn't a thing. And she's back in Cape Town as a human rights policy consultant. So she works with a large network of NGOs and with governments themselves working on human rights policy. So she advises on things like the rollout of artificial intelligence by African governments and the human rights framework of that. The Scalabrini Centre is another organization we do a lot of work with. Cape Town, South Africa is one of Africa's economic hotspots. And we get a lot of people moving to South Africa from the rest of Africa, either legally or illegally. And the Scalabrini Center is an organization that helps people find their feet in Cape Town when they move here. That's through finding jobs, workshops for women empowerment, legal advice, advocacy. So that's another organization that's hosted UCLA students in the past. Then out of the human rights framework, we also do a lot of work with public health organizations. So public health against Africa, we've had tuberculosis, HIV, still quite large problems in Cape Town. So we work with organizations that tackle that head on, both in a research and on the ground capacity. So when we meet, what we'll definitely try to figure out is if you want to be involved more on a hands, boots on the ground, directly in the community, working with people, or more on a policy research advocacy sort of like framework. Education against Africa we've got again challenges. So education, where we sort of like work is two ways: either directly in education, where you would get to work in a school with a teacher, a traditional like educational framework, and then there's a shortfall between the educational system and so like the framework. There are organizations that try and bridge the gap between communities, underprivileged communities, where education lacks or falls behind that of wealthier communities, and they try to plug those gaps. One example is in robotics and coding, and obviously being able to use a computer, internet, and understanding that is a huge gap. And children in some communities just literally wouldn't have even been exposed to a computer or Windows or writing a Word document. So we work with a variety of organizations that try and bridge that gap. They do after schools educational courses. They teach kids coding, robotics, tutoring, after schools tutoring. A lot of children have both mom and dad at work, and after school, rather than let kids just go home or be unsupervised, they sort of like have a safe space where children can come, bridge again gaps in education, and just not get up to mischief after school. We've also worked with a couple of political organizations. So for anybody interested in politics, one of the most interesting people we work with currently is a ward councillor in Cape Town, part of the municipal administration of the city. And she also works with the Democratic Alliance, which is the official opposition of South Africa. So it's an opportunity, again, to see how politics works on the ground at a municipal level, and then on a more national level with elections. We've got quite a large election coming up next year. So for anybody interested in politics, it would be a very interesting time to be in South Africa. And looping back to business again, there are a lot of startups in Cape Town. When I place people in organizations, I try to look at medium, small size organizations where you'd be able to get a bit of face time with the owner of the business or the decision makers of the business. We found in the past, large corporate size organizations is quite easy to get lost in the organization. Whereas if you are in a smaller organization, you get to see the decision makers and understand starting a business, running a business, and really, really, really being able to make a tangible difference to the business rather than just fulfilling a role. And within that framework, we've got a variety of people we've worked with. Fast-moving consumer goods, tech startups, and when we meet, if you're coming to Cape Town, we'd be able to explore your interests and try find a match there. And then communication, the field there is really, really, really wide. Two of the more interesting organizations we work with are a radio station and a television station, where they're community-based organizations serving news, information of local communities, but they're really, really quite open to accepting interns and letting people really, run with the position, get involved, make a tangible difference. So they wouldn't like have you just doing stuff, intern work. You really get involved. Marketing, advertising, yeah, there's pretty much Cape Town's got it all. Absolutely. I don't know, Ollie, if there's anything I've missed here. So it's quite a lot to share.
Yeah, no, thanks, Ron. I think you've done a great job of giving us a sort of a general overview of the options we have out there in terms of your internship. I think to stress that you'll, during your advising call with our team, you'll have a good sense of, we can really go into specifics about what you're interested in, what will be a good fit for you. So I think that Rowan's just speaking more in terms of very general sort of macro level categories of the types of internships we offer, but we would really encourage you to book a call, because a lot of the questions you may have will be answered in greater detail then. But just to add, I think another huge benefit to Cape Town as a destination is it's all these internships will be conducted in English. Everyone speaks English here. So from a professional standpoint, you're going to be communicating and not worrying about just being understood on a first level. You can really get down to business in terms of, because you're speaking English, which you'll be familiar with. So yeah, otherwise, I think, Rowan, I think you did a nice job of covering the basics. And I think now we're going to transition to the fun part of the experience. So Cape Town is one of the world's most beautiful cities. It's there's a lot of accessible adventure right on your doorstep. I believe that, Andrew, we're going to be able to just play this video quickly.
Yeah.
This video, as with the brilliant internship process video, this will speak louder than we can. So.
Here.
Currently, I am in South Africa teaching grade 1. I am here in Cape Town doing a human rights internship.
My name is Alex Apka. For the past 2 months, Cape Town has been my home. There's so much to see here. There's so much to do. I've been here for almost 2 months now, and I haven't experienced even close to how much I want to do.
I love Cape Town. There's so many different things to do here, like going to the beach, going on hikes. There's always markets and festivals going on. It's always been my dream destination. It's a very beautiful place. The people are extremely friendly, and they have all the resources that we have back home.
When I came to Cape Town, I wasn't sure if I'd fit in. But after being here for several weeks, I definitely feel like I really do. It's just become home.
Absolutely my favorite place in the world. I have learned so many things that I didn't know before. It's making me realize like this is what I want to do. I think it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
It's absolutely a no-brainer for you to come to Cape Town.
I'm not sure if we had a few. The video is a little bit.
Oh, is it shaky? Sorry.
But on my side, I'm not sure if you guys had a better view of that. I don't know if it's possible, Andrew. Maybe after the presentation, we can send out a few additional links. I think most importantly, what we want to emphasize again is this: Cape Town it's a truly spectacular city. I can't wait to hear Layla's thoughts on her time in Cape Town, but. The program is structured in such a way so your internships will be Monday through Thursday, so that'll be your work focused time. So your internship would be approximately 8 to 4, 9 to 5, depends on where you're placed. But in addition, on a Monday evening, we have what are called cultural workshops. So after work, or the culture series is what we also refer to it as, you can come and learn about a different aspect of South African culture every week, ranging from food to dance to music to, I think we do a session on the national anthem. So it's a nice way to learn more about the country that you're going to be living in for 2 months. And in our opinion, it really will enhance your overall appreciation of the country. So as I said earlier, internships are only 4 days a week. On Fridays, you have the morning off, and every Friday afternoon, we do what we call weekly meetups. So there are excursions to different areas of the city, ranging from hiking to wine tasting to surfing to going to museums. So sailing. We're on a peninsula in Cape Town. We have ocean on either side of us. So there's a lot of ocean. So we again, we try and plan the activity. We take the weather into consideration, but we like to find a way to take you to an interesting area of the city each week. The meetups are optional, so if you're not, surfing's not your thing, you're scared of sharks, whatever, we're not going to drag you onto that activity. Or if you had a long day at work or a long week, you're not obligated to join us, but generally speaking, you're gonna have a great time if you join us. So, but it's nice that the atmosphere is people are there because they want to be there. So, weekends are free, so it's up to you to decide how you're going to spend your weekend. There's, again, Layla, I'm sure we'll have a lot to share there too. But Cape Town it's probably about the size of Boston in terms of a city footprint, so you can get around pretty easily to the different areas of the city. And again, there's just a lot to do. So another highlight of the time in Cape Town is you can do a optional weekend trip up the Garden Route. It's a 3-day trip. Garden Route is the east coast of South Africa, along the Indian Ocean side of the country. So the trip goes along some beautiful coastal towns. It goes to the Kango Caves. You have the option to jump off the world-sized bungee jump. I think officially UCLA doesn't want you to do that, but or you have to sign a waiver if you do.
We don't hear anything.
Yeah, so it's and so that's a great trip, and it's just a great way to see a different part of the country while you're outside the city. Yeah, and again, when I was so back to my story briefly, I was a study abroad student here for a full year, and I just love this city because you meet so many people outside of the program who are from all over the world. The program is also based in Observatory, which is a very international neighborhood, and it's right by the University of Cape Town. So it's Cape Town, because it's so multicultural and international, again, it's very sort of stimulating culturally. So there's a lot to do.
Thank you, Oliver. So I'm actually going to real quickly go over program funding, and then that way we can get some time to speak with Layla. So just so you know, all global internship programs do have financial aid available. Just make sure you're enrolled in the 8 units, so both courses, and that you're applying for your 24-25 FAFSA or DREAM Act by the priority deadline. Some additional documentation you'll have to fill out with your application. Not after you submit your application, it would be once you're accepted in the program, there's some additional documentation. But financial aid does consider your entire costs, so including both the program fee as well as estimated costs such as flight, meals, incidentals, transportation. There's a lot of scholarships available too, depending on your academic track, as well as just being in the global internship program. So definitely encourage you to apply. Again, these scholarships, although they're competitive, they're still, it's money that we want to provide to financial aid students and, we want to provide to students who are looking to finance their study abroad experience. And, a lot of times, your pool of applicants is not as large as if you're applying to a UCLA-wide, scholarship. So definitely don't be nervous. Encourage you to apply if you meet any of the qualifications for the scholarships. And this is posted on our website already, but just note that we do have the program fees posted. The program fee will include your tuition, your housing, your pickup from the airport. It includes all the excursions and activities from, VACorps on site, their 24/7 health and safety. We do have some estimated meals, transportation, and airfare expenses. These we're a little bit conservative on just to make sure that you're planning accordingly, but your spending habits will depend. So you may find a much cheaper flight. You may cook at home more than eating out. It really depends on your own spending habits, but we definitely encourage you to plan ahead. And if you have any questions regarding financial aid, scholarships, or just budgeting, to reach out to our office, and we're happy to talk with you. And now, as we were saying, it's not all this work. We have a lot of fun on the program as well. Our students, you get to see Layla in some of these photos and some of our photos from students this past year, our past year's cohort. And so I'm gonna now throw it over to talk a little bit with Layla about how our experience was last summer. And maybe you could just start by talking about your internship location and kind of a brief description of your role within that organization.
Yeah, so I worked at Africa Unite. It's a nonprofit human rights organization, and it's located in the Central Business District, so more of like the downtown area. And I feel like it was the best location because you're surrounded by so many restaurants, so many stores, everything. But what I did specifically, I did honestly a wide range of things, which was really helpful for me because I don't know exactly what I want to do in my future career. But some things that I did is I visited schools in the area, helped students with like leadership roles and activities, things like that. And then I also learned a lot about like migration and refugees, because South Africa has a lot of people coming in from other countries, African countries specifically. So we did a lot of help with providing resources to migrants and refugees. Another thing that we did like community conflict mediation meetings. So there can be a lot of issues in the townships, which are more impoverished areas and disadvantaged communities. And so we basically sat communities down and had them like an open dialogue of discussing some issues. Another thing that I did, I drafted reports, things like that, in regards to some like international workshops and seminars that were held. So yeah, honestly, it was a great experience. I feel like I gained a lot of skills in a bunch of different fields and areas. So yeah.
Thank you, Layla. And kind of rolling off of that, I know you said you're not 100% sure what you want to do next in the future as far as your career, but what sort of transferable skills do you think you took away from that experience that you believe would be helpful for you in both academically or in a future, workplace?
I would say like project management. I was able to I feel like I worked on a lot of different projects and trying to like plan events. So that was a learning experience for sure. Other things, more like soft skills, is just communication in an international workplace, because every work culture is different across the world. So I kind of learned how to communicate, and then also observing the ways that they do things at the organization, if that makes sense. And yeah, another thing that I did is that I was able to implement like an organizational tool within the organization. So I just taught them how to use a specific like app to keep things organized, all of that. So I think they're still using that now. So it is helpful. It's great that you're able to like make a lasting impact on the organization that you work for beyond the time that you leave. So yeah.
Awesome. And what was your, I know Rowan was mentioning kind of the what a week might look like for an intern, but what was your day-to-day, schedule kind of like, or your week like for you when you were in Cape Town?
My days were very event filled. So basically my internship was from 9 to 5. So I would go to that from 9 to 5. And then afterwards, me and like my UCLA housemates, or even some local friends that I met, we would do something, maybe going out to dinner. There were so many things that you could do. But yeah, I think that was like what my day looked like from Monday to Thursday. And then on Friday, I would go to, I think every single week, I went to the activities that VACorps held. And that was so much fun. Each time it was something different. There was one of my favorites was visiting an organization called Grandmothers Against Poverty and AIDS, I believe. That was the most heartwarming experience I've ever had. They also take you to other faraway places like Hout Bay, which was a really cool like beach town thing. And then I went surfing in Muizenberg Beach. So I feel like, to sum it up, my week was filled of like 9 to 5 on Monday through Thursday. Then afterwards, just doing some fun, spontaneous things on Friday and then the weekends as well. I also went to Garden Route. I would highly recommend. That's when I went bungee jumping. And then we went and saw the elephants, which there was a picture of that there. We also explored some caves. There are so many things, kayaking as well. I could go on, but yeah, it was a fantastic time.
And how did you, it sounded like it was really busy. How did you end up managing both your academics and your internship and just exploring through Cape Town?
It wasn't like terrible at all, but it definitely was a skill. because I just really wanted to do everything. I didn't get much rest because I was always going, but it was fun for me to just continuously be doing things. So how I managed it, I don't know. I guess I would set time out in the day or the weekend to do schoolwork. The classes honestly aren't too like rigorous in the sense that it's like a terrible workload. So yeah, it honestly wasn't that bad. I would highly just recommend just being present in the country and not fixating too much about I don't like not fixating too much on like the schoolwork just because your experience will guide the schoolwork because it is based on your internship and your experience, if that makes sense.
And what would you say are there any, well, I guess what was maybe some of your favorite experiences that you had? You talked a little bit about some of the social experiences, but is there any other experiences you had, whether inside your internship or outside, that you just really were transformative or you really enjoyed?
Yeah, I think hands down, it's all of the people that I met. Like beyond all of the crazy adventures that I went on, nothing compares to the amazing people that I met along the way. So, for example, if you guys do join the program, you'll meet Kus and Coley. They're a part of VACorps. They were absolutely amazing from the time that I landed in the airport all the way till the time that I left. They just really provided so much support. And then beyond them, I made so many local friends. So that was a lot of fun because I feel like seeing Cape Town through the lens of people who actually live there is completely different than doing all of the touristy things. And so for example, I was able to ride a taxi with a local, and typically they don't recommend that you ride the taxis alone in regards to safety issues. But because I was with a local, I was able to do some fun things like that. I also made so many friends in thrift stores. Observatory is an amazing neighborhood with so many friendly people and a lot of younger people as well because it is near the University of Cape Town. So I was able to just make so many friends in the neighborhood. And so then we would hang out and have a good time. So I would definitely say the people. My biggest recommendation is if you do go to Cape Town, it's to see all of Cape Town because I feel like Cape Town has so much to offer, from all of the tourist events and activities that you can do to like at the smallest level of just the amazing people that live there. So I was able to visit the townships, and honestly, I feel like that was a highlight of my trip. The kids are just so sweet. The people are so friendly. It's a very community oriented place. So instead of just staying in the more tourist areas, like Camps Bay, for example, is one of the beach cities, or just the places that people always go, I would highly recommend making local friends so then you can see different aspects of Cape Town that aren't talked about as much. So yeah.
Thank you, Layla. And I think what I'm going to do now is we're going to open it up to questions here. I know we're over time, but I wanted to just mention a couple of actually Layla's colleagues that were there this past summer that also interned abroad in Cape Town. We had Brenda, who was at the Scalabrini Center of Cape Town. She said, my internship allowed me to engage directly with our target population of migrants and refugees and provide them with direct care services for economic advancement, upskilling, and community integration. I was able to collaborate program staff and volunteers to develop frameworks for more effective service delivery and create tools for monitoring and evaluation of service success rates. And then we had Jocelyn Espinoza, education major. Said, my global internship has helped me think about inequality through a worldwide lens. It helped me find interconnectedness in two completely different countries. I learned the importance of being open-minded, reflecting community, and the value of finding similarities and difference. And so I just want to make a note that Layla, as well as Jocelyn and Brenda, are our Cape Town ambassadors. And so we encourage you, if you're interested in the program, you can go to our website and click on Student Ambassadors and reach out, and we can connect you with all three of them or any particular student if they're in your academic track. I think in terms of the experience in Cape Town, no matter the academic track, they can all probably provide you a good overview of their experience there, and are definitely here to to provide feedback of any questions you might have from a student perspective, because we know that they can definitely provide you more insight than ourselves here at UCLA that are just the staff members. So encourage you to reach out. And so without further ado, I'm going to stop the recording, but open it up to questions from any audience members.